this? I really don't understand it.
What the hell is wrong with y'all? You ain't that damn good. Stop acting like it.
Ineffectual privilege defeats soft penis debutante.
Stop right there. Stop. No.
We think it amazing.
Hello and welcome to the SC Guns podcast. Yes, that intro is a lot if you've never heard it before. Welcome on. I've got a guest host, SuperCoach Loch. Loch, how are you going?
In my job, managing a bottle shop. So it's been a big couple of weeks. So happy to be, past New Year's and happy to talk some Supercoach.
Oh, yes, we've got plenty to look at this round. Let's not waste any time and get straight into it. Our first game of the round was the Thunder and the Renegades. Obviously, David Warner anchored their batting innings for the Thunder with, I think he scored 86 runs. Yeah, he did, which became 116 Supercoach points. Now, obviously, he's had a lean run with the bat this summer, but he's going to be around $130,000. Now, there is an upcoming double. What are your thoughts on David Warner? Do we bring him in? And if so, when do we time it?
Yeah, he'll have a pretty low break even. So, if you wait a week, I think he'll be that little bit more expensive. Personally, I don't like to usually have bat only players, but in the case of some players like your David Warner's, like the international type players, that's I will make an exception and definitely considering, especially coming up to a double.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot based on past pedigree, isn't it, with Warner?
Yeah,
Yeah, because you know, if you were to pick I mean, let's even look at Karen Bancroft, for example. If he had this sort of form, I probably wouldn't consider him. But it's Warner, and once he has a score, he could go on a run. That's the real
yeah,
appeal behind him. Uh,
yeah, definitely.
I mean, there's also, speaking of like international batsmen, uh, there is the curious case of Sherfane Rutherford. Now, he's going to drop to around $75,000 next
Mm-hmm.
week.
Yeah.
Uh, Probably still have a pretty hefty break even. And he's batting at 3. Now, you could you can quite literally flip from Constance to Rutherford and it not really cost you a cent. And
Mm-hmm.
that actually is quite interesting to me. If I can go from Constance to Rutherford and, you know, I have a double game player who has a very high ceiling, I'm interested by that. But I want to get your thoughts. Is it just he's out of form and not a target, or do you think he'll come good?
Yeah, I think surely he has to come good at some stage, like with the quality player that he is. I've actually still got Constance, so I was actually thinking like, oh, will he be available for the double? But I don't think he'll quite be available for his double. So yeah, it might just be an easy switch. So surely someone with Rutherford's pedigree could go off, especially during that double, and
Yeah,
even
you'd
like
be.
before that,
Sorry,
you
yeah.
can sorry, even before that, like you can maybe try and loophole him in somehow, maybe. Just thoughts.
Mm.
But is definitely another one that's on my radar.
Yeah, it just feels like it's too good to be true for him to be at
Yeah.
$75,000, right? Now, of course, the key implication behind that is he needs to be batting at 3 again to warrant picking him. Um, because like if we're looking at a number 6 batsman, he's just gonna keep dropping down until he reaches 50K,
Yeah.
unless, there is a collapse from their top order and he has his innings that way. It's gonna be quiet for him. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Who did
I'd
he come
be
in for? Who did he
yeah.
replace him for?
I
Was
think
that
he is the
was
con.
Ben?
I think he's the Constance replacement.
Yeah. And Ben Croft has moved up to opening, hasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and Sanger's out. That was the other one as well.
And Sanger, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I'm not sure. I know he's not able to bowl again this year, Jason Sanger, but they do think he'll be right to bat. But it doesn't sound
Oh,
like it's going to be, um, back next week or next game.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
that's something to monitor in the next 48 hours, I suppose.
yeah,
Um, Now, in the bowling side of things, actually, I should mention, oh yeah, bowling side of things for the Renegades, we'll go there. We had Will Sutherland, Adam Zampa, Tom Rogers, Kane Richardson. They all got reasonably solid scores. Tom Rogers, most of his work came with the bat. Was that right? Yeah, he got
yeah. Boys,
past 20 with the bat,
past
which helps
20,
him.
yeah, yeah, and he take one or
Um,
two wickets.
I think he
Anyway,
got the one, but
yeah,
like 66 points with the game in hand. Tom Rogers looks like he would have been the guy to get this round as opposed
yeah,
to spending up for guys like Sutherland and Seifert, who,
yeah.
although Sutherland hasn't done too bad,
Mhm.
Seifert did have a quiet first game, but who knows, that could
Yeah,
change well and truly.
yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I actually traded both Sutherland and Tom Rogers in. I wanted Fergus O'Neill, but I couldn't quite afford him. But I brought in Jacob Bethel. But yeah, now Tom Rogers, he's 66 at the moment. He's well, if you look at my side this week, yeah, that's actually looking like a monster score compared to some of my other scores. And I put the VC on Will Sutherland, and yeah, look, I put Jamie Overton at the moment as my captain. I'm like, geez, that 42 is looking huge at the moment.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll come to it, but gee, the strikers not turning up was very
Yeah,
unideal for Supercoach.
yeah, yeah,
We also had Fergus O'Neill. He didn't take a wicket early, so it. n- the pattern I've seen emerge with Fergus is that if he doesn't get a wicket in his first over and a half, he's not getting one. Um,
yeah,
so that's something to monitor. He is a new ball bowler, so that's probably expected. Uh,
yeah.
but you'll sort of know how he's going to pan out uh, pretty early on in the night. Now, that's okay. He's probably good. If Matt Short doesn't play, he'll be good for a top order wicket against guys
Yeah,
like, you know, Darcy Short is very
yeah,
capable of missing a straight one and just having his front pad blown off. That's been shown in the
yeah.
past. Plenty of
Weatherald,
opportunity for,
Lynn hasn't been done much. Yeah,
yeah, plenty of opportunity for him to bounce back. Let's move to the second innings now. I mean, I think the first guy to talk about, he's back over at the Thunder. Where's Agar? Back to back tons. Um, if you're wanting for the double, you probably have to get him next week. And so my question to you is, are you getting him next week?
he's definitely in consideration for next week. Yeah, he's if you wait another week, yeah, he's going to be that much more expensive. But yeah, no, definitely one on my radar. Yeah, he's how many wickets did he take? He take three, four.
He got he got three in this game and four in the last game, so seven in
Yeah,
two.
yeah, yeah. So he's in pretty good touch. Yeah, who's he taken? He's replacing McAndrew pretty much, has he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, so she should. I'll definitely keep his spot on the side. But yeah,
Hmm.
no, he is one that is most definitely on my radar. And how much is he projected to be? Will he be
Um,
about 150 or so?
yeah, 145. So not
Yeah, 145,
by no means
150. Yeah,
unaffordable, right?
yeah,
Um, but I would imagine a very negative break even next week.
yeah,
Uh, so I'd be doing all you can to bring him in. Now, of course, when someone goes back to back tons, usually they drop off a little bit. So I'm not expecting him to go out when I trade him in. I'm expecting him to go, you know, hopefully between 40 and 65. I'd be happy with that.
definitely.
But
Yeah,
I just know that on the double, there's probably a 3 wicket haul for him in one of those
yeah,
games.
yeah,
So I'm happy to bring him in for that. Um, And then the rest of their bowling innings, there wasn't really much going on. I mean, Sam's got 58, but I saw something, I think it might have been from Supercoach Brain over at Insight. Uh, Not a good average for Daniel Sams at Optus Stadium
mm,
or against Perth. So
yeah,
I think I'm going to just let him go, Daniel Sams. He's not got he had a 90 break even this week, so he drops a little bit. And, he'd probably have a similar-ish score, similar-ish break even to what his score was this week based off some past, yeah, whatever, nerdy stuff. But I don't think he will be a priority pickup going into
Yeah.
round
Has
five
he?
where everyone plays once.
Yeah. Has he done much in this season apart from taking Lloyd Pope for 31 in that strikers game in the second last over? He would have scored
Um,
huge from that. But apart from that, has he done much?
Now he hasn't gone too low, but he hasn't gone too
Yeah.
high. So he's gone like
Yeah. Yeah.
35, 38, and 58.
Yeah. Like he was one that at the start of the season I'm like, yeah, got to get him in for that round six double. But yeah, I'm sort of Sands or Agar. Yeah,
Mm. I think the problem with him is that he is batting at number 8 now. He's behind Chris Green in the batting
yeah,
lineup,
yeah.
which, you know, even from a cricketing standpoint, makes no sense to me because he's a much better bat than Green.
Yeah,
But that's how they want to balance their side out. So who are we to judge, right?
yeah,
Then the batting innings from the Renegades never really took off. I mean, you got Jacob Bethel, didn't really fire a shot with two, got
yeah,
out to a Sam Slower ball, actually.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I was
Fraser,
actually hoping, like, if
yeah,
I traded in Bethel, and I was like, oh, please, please, waste off. Could it be a no ball? But no, it wasn't.
no,
I got stuck with Jacob Bethel two at the moment, so hopefully he can fire tonight.
yeah, I also got stuck with Bethel's two. That should have gone. That ball should have gone to the
Yeah,
back of showground. Anyway, that's all right. Five foot 19. You'd be a bit disappointed if you spent over 180,000 bringing him in, but again, he's got that second game, so everything could change tonight. And then Fraser McGurk, Josh Brown, similar stories there. It just wasn't a great batting innings for the Renegades, and it showed in the SuperCoach scoring.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know what more there is to add to that game.
Yeah, so yeah, like you said before, Tim Seifert. Yeah, I've been watching him close because I owned him rounds one and two. Yeah, he looked really good. But yeah, you'd be disappointed if you paid 180K to bring him in, and what's he on at the moment? Say 19, but
Mm,
still has a game to go. Um, yeah, and that's why people would have brought him in because he has that double game.
that's right. And also, like, he's a wicket keeper too. That has its own value because that position's been shocking this year. Um,
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
and it's highlighted how shocking it is because you can justify starting Sam Harper as your starting keeper,
Hmm.
and it's
Yeah,
not actually doing that much damage, which is
yeah.
remarkable. Um, Now we'll look at the second game here, the Strikers and the Scorchers. I mean, we could probably be brief through this one, but the key points from this one, nothing doing with the bat at all for the Strikers, unless your name was Brendan Doggett,
Hmm.
in which case there was a
Yeah.
little bit doing for the bat. Uh,
Hmm.
he had a great game, Doggett. Was he? I know he was a late in the sense that we didn't really see him coming in until the teams were announced, but did you pivot to him?
I did not know. I was just thinking, like, oh, could he be recalled to the Australian squad with, potential, Mitch Stark under a bit of an injury cloud? Um, yeah, so I did not bring him in, but I own Basley, and yeah, with that performance with from Doggett, or should I say Sloggett, um, yeah, I don't think Badley's going to get a chance. Not that he was bowling anyway. I don't know what they're doing with him. Yeah, he was batting 7-8 and not getting a bowl. So yeah, as an owner, yeah, a bit very concerned. I've already got Buckingham as a loophole, so
Mm.
have another striker not playing. So yeah, bit concerned there. But yeah, Doggett's he'll have actually he's still got a game to go tonight, doesn't he? And
Mm.
yeah, he'll be have a massive negative break even, I'd say.
He will. And the only dilemma with bringing Doggett in is that I believe the strikers have a round 6 bye, but I'll confirm that
Yeah,
right now. I mean, like we're looking at more than yeah, round 6 bye, but a massive, massive negative break even for Doggett. So you could justify bringing him in, but maybe I don't know. That's going to be tough to consider.
yeah,
Money or build your squad up for later. I probably lean towards the latter personally, but
yeah, yeah. Like people
uh,
probably
yeah,
have
sorry.
their Matt Shorts, their Jamie Overtons, your Henry Thorntons, that are all going to have the buy in round 6. So you're going to have to somehow manage them out before their buy, or some of them at least. Yeah, just another big bit of news before the Strikers game against Perth. Matt Short out with a
Yeah,
broken
that
toe.
that absolutely sent Supercoach. We found out
Yep.
maybe a couple of hours beforehand, and everyone was quick to say, right, what's the implications? And I know I had a few messages from people saying, uh, is this going to mean that Ollie Pope goes up the lineup? And I said, yeah, probably. I would be shocked if he's not batting in the top three. Ended up opening the batting. Um, and another bit of extra appeal is that they did finally give Ollie Pope wicketkeeper status. So he is a wicketkeeper
Yeah.
bat. Started the season as a bat only. Um, but that all led to nothing as he got out in the second over for 1 run. Uh, so he's sitting right now in my team with a nice little one. Uh,
Mhm.
and quite a few people that I said to, because people do ask you, should I bring in Ollie Pope? Who should I bring in? Uh, and Pope was up there for me with when Short got ruled out because he's international cricketer,
Yeah,
wicket keeper. It's
absolutely.
perfect for the double, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's sitting nice and pretty on one. Uh, Tell me, did you bring in Ollie Pope? And if you didn't, what other stories do you have about your strikers players in this game?
Well, I didn't bring in Ollie Pope. He has been on my radar for the season. Also knowing that he was likely to get wicketkeeper status. Other strikers players like I was thinking maybe could Lynn pop off. He hasn't had a good season to start off with, but he's down to about what is he about 120, 130k or so. So a big massive discount from his starting price at the start of the year. Um, like I hadn't really had many more on my radar. Like I was thinking maybe even like a Lloyd Pope. He's
Mm.
been taking some wickets. Already had Thornton. I wish I started Liam Scott instead of Jordan Buckingham as my 39k player in my balls line. But yeah, I think he scored a 0 as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that Scott and James Basley and George Buckingham probably all scored the same amount
Yeah,
of points so
yeah, yeah,
in this game. But no, I'd be concerned for Scott in terms of
yeah,
will he keep his spot long term? Because now that they've got Doggett, like his bowling's not Scott's bowling's not super important. And then on the
mhm,
flip side, Doggett's just scored 47 with the bat, so
yeah,
can they get away with Doggett at number 8? It would seem that way.
yeah,
But there's a few things to consider, and they might bring in Buckingham to replace, or someone like that. I believe Haskett, the Perth fast bowler, he's in their squad right now, so it might be
mhm,
him in the short term future. But let's look at the Scorchers. There you go. I can speak. The Scorchers. Finn Allen. At 93
yeah,
break even coming into this week at 87k. We said on the previous podcast that, well, actually the previous two, to be on Finn Allen watch in terms of his prices dropping. He's got a massive ceiling on him. Uh,
mhm,
Bringing him in at a sub $100,000 price is a massive move. Um, and he will remain sub 100,000 with a score of 85 this week. But he looks back. I
yeah,
believe it was a 50 off 33 or something like that from memory. Uh, that's all I need to justify bringing him in. Um, what are your thoughts? Are you going to go get Finn Allen as an emergency loop next round?
Quite possibly. He's one that was a bit on my radar since the start of the season, like just before the even before the Scorchers double. At 152k, didn't really want to pay up too much for being an international. Hasn't played in the BBL before. I've been burnt before by like De Cox, Duplessis. um, so I just want to have a bit of a look first, and then oh, he hasn't seen the second over for the first few games, has he? But once he got out, once he saw the second over, I'm like, oh yeah, he's a big chance here, and he's one. I've been watching his price, waiting for it to fall, and I think he might be bottomed out right now. And yeah, he's one I'm definitely looking at to bring in as that emergency loophole.
Yeah, I mean, the ceiling on him is big. Some people will do it, but people also just say, "What if this is a one game thing? I want to build for next round." And so the question then becomes, can you set up a loophole where you either take Rutherford or Allen score? That's really the goal here for super
Yeah,
coaches. Because if you can get those two in and set up a loophole appropriately later on, then you'd be laughing because they both have quite high ceilings on them.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, and then at the bowling you had Berendorf and Jai Richardson. They went about their business as usual. Let's Morris did as well. Uh, and then of course, with the bat in reply, I mean, we talked about Finn Allen, but Connolly and Ashton
mhm.
Turner, they iced the game. Presuming, I presume you still have Connolly, but I'll ask you, do you have Connolly?
I do still have Connolly, yes.
Yeah,
That 60 he's looking huge. No, he's been in great form with the bat. He hasn't bowled that often, but he has got a couple of wickets. And I believe did Ashton Agar go off the field with what was it, some back injury or something like that?
yeah, he did, which I found quite interesting for Connolly long term because,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
they do have Matthew Spores who could bat at
yeah,
seven and replace Agar, but is probably not
yeah,
good enough probably not a good enough bowler to bowl 4 overs. So I'd be surprised if it's a long term thing for Agar. I think Connolly will retain a very good bowling role, and
yeah,
therefore he probably ends up being a season keeper at this point. Like he's batting in the top four and he's bowling regular overs and he's in good form with the bat. Very hard to justify trading him out at all.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll definitely be keeping him. With Hardy coming back as well, like still batting in that top four. So yeah, good signs for Cooper, I reckon.
Mm,
Keeper.
definitely, definitely. Um, let's look at the Hurricanes and the Sixers. Now, this game certainly did not pan out the way I thought it would. I did not expect the Sixers to roll over to Hobart, even though it's a home game for the Hurricanes. I didn't really think it would go this way. I almost thought the scores would be flipped. You know,
Yeah, oh,
I thought
definitely.
it'd be
Yeah,
the Sixers that sort of score 160 and Hurricanes fall short in the chase. But I think Chris Jordan was a top scorer for the Hurricanes with 3 wickets and some runs as well. They have a they have a double in a fair bit, but it is worthwhile starting to watch some Hurricanes. Who are the Hurricanes that you're watching ahead of long term ahead of this round seven double that's a bit away?
Yep. So yeah, Hobart Hurricane schedule. Like it seems they always get shafted with the schedule every year.
Mm,
A couple of that, as you've mentioned, Chris Jordan already. He bats at seven. Can hold a stick. Bowls death, bowls surge. Which is recipe for super coach points. Also, and he's fairly cheap as well. I think he's going to be about. I think he's about one. He's about 105 at the moment one with
mm,
that with him coming up this week. Will he be about
yep.
130 or so? Yep.
So he's
So
sorry, he's
no,
105 right now with a 32 break even, so he'll go
yeah,
up probably to around 115 sort of thing. So
yeah.
very
Oh, okay.
affordable.
Yeah, very affordable, even better. Yeah, he's definitely one. He's one that I could, as early as this week, maybe even, try and bring him in.
Mm.
Another one that's on my radar, Nikhil Chowdhury.
Mm.
He's sub 100k, batting at 5, and yeah, he rolled the arm over, bowled a few overs in this game. I know Hobart have, what's his name, Waka Salamkale, but I think he's only playing in the first few games. He was playing up until round 6, I believe.
Ooh, if we get confirmation on that, that is
Yeah,
big
yeah,
because that would
yeah,
probably lock him in. That would lock Chowdhury into a few sides because
yeah,
I mean the Hurricanes have shown in the past they don't really have too much trust in guys like Peter Hatziglu and
yeah,
Paddy
yeah.
Dooley. So and that's where Chowdhury got his
Mm.
success last year.
What's happening with Dooley? Is he injured or just not being picked?
Not being picked, he's a fair way down
Yeah,
the pecking
yeah,
order there, which I find interesting.
yeah.
Um,
That was interesting.
um,
And I'd say probably next game, who did Hatzoglu came in? I think it was for a last replacement for Alice, was it?
yes, so he
Yeah,
probably
it
just
was.
see drops out.
Yeah. So could possibly even better for Chowdhury.
Yeah, that could. Well, I mean, he won't be the technically the third spinner then in that
No, yeah,
situation. Um, and yeah, I mean, Chowdhury's very interesting to me because
hmm
he's not all that expensive. He was
yeah,
94k, 51 break even. It goes up to the probably lands himself in the early $100,000 price range. Bat bowl too. So
hmm
I'm very interested in that. And then finally, like I've had him all season by some fluke, but Mitch Owen, he has been on
yeah,
my bench. Uh, and then miraculously, I've played him for his two good scores, his 68 and of course the ton earlier on in the season. So been a bit of fortune there because he was it was quite an unknown coming into the season. But he's price wise, he's probably uh, but people bring him in, he's unjustifiable at what will be
Mhm.
130 to
Yeah.
140k next week. I think that's one you just let go.
Yeah, I think just let that one go through the keeper. I actually brought him in after his first good game, just because he had such a massive negative break even. My plan was just to stick him on the bench. He can make some money. But yeah, just because I've been struggling to field a side this week, I've actually had to bring him on field. And
Mm.
yeah, what did he score? 68. So it's actually my highest score. I think he's the same as yours. He's the highest scoring player on my team for this round so far, including double
Yeah,
players.
that says a lot about
Oh,
this round, doesn't it?
yeah. Oh, definitely,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah. Um,
But
otherwise,
yeah, quite
Ben
cool actually
McDermott.
bringing in.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
Otherwise, Ben
no,
McDermott.
there's
Ben McDermott. He has been going very well post Boxing Day, which we talked about on the show a couple of weeks back. But 44 in this one, he looked really on. For me, he will be my number one trading target next week. Uh, one, because he's a wicketkeeper batsman, and two, his ceiling on his day, Ben McDermott, it is massive. So I'm very keen on McDermott. He'll be probably mm, late 120s, so very affordable. But yeah, McDermott's ceiling, very hard to beat as a wicketkeeper. What are your thoughts on McDermott? Are you targeting him?
yeah, he's definitely one that I'm pretty keen on as well. Yeah, wicketkeeper, 129, 120 odd K. Uh, yeah, upcoming. Like I know the doubles like a little while away, but no one's on a double for a little while except for the Sydney Thunder. But yeah, guy with his sort of scoring history, he's gone massive in the past. He could still go massive. So one that we could definitely bring in.
Yeah, it's McDermott's definitely a strong target. Now, on the Sixers side of things, Jack Edwards. coming into this game with a massive injury cloud over him. He bowled 4 overs and he batted at number 6. It's a great role. Fortunately for us, those who traded him out or just didn't have him, he only scored 37. Now, the thing with Edwards is that I think he moves back up to number 3 and Patterson drops out pretty soon.
Yeah,
Uh, they need, uh, I reckon they could do with an extra pacer, an extra bowler. Uh, and I don't know that Patterson's really adding much to their lineup, particularly when, a guy like Joel Davies who can bowl some left arm spin and bat in top 6 and is a gun fielder has a lot more value in a T20 lineup than what Curtis Patterson does. And if you bring him in, that immediately puts Jack Edwards into a, one of, if not the best role in Supercoach, being a paceman who bowls with a new ball and at the death and in the surge and bats in the top 3.
yeah, yeah. Nah, Jack Edwards, absolutely perfect role for Supercoach. Yeah, I thought, against the Hurricanes, oh, you beauty, plenty of runs still to get. Um, so yeah, he could score a few runs here, but no. What did he end up scoring, like a 2 or something like that? Yeah. Yeah, but yeah,
Always the way.
bowls, at the start, he bowls during the surge, and he bowled the 20th over, which is, what we like. Get some junk wickets. Didn't work out this time, didn't get any wickets, but, the role is definitely there. Best role in Supercoach, I believe.
Yeah, I struggle to find a better role than what Edwards could have if moved up the order. And then finally for the Sixers, Ben Dwarshuis, only 19 today, but I suppose in essence he's earned a quiet game. He's
Yeah,
had a very, very good season. Uh, you know, hasn't really let us down in any particular round. So I give him a bit of grace. He's still a hold for me. There's a bit of money in him, so you might be able to justify selling him. But leading wicket taker in the comp, it's very hard to, in my mind, very hard to justify selling him.
yeah, no, definitely. He's definitely a hold for me. Yeah, had managed to have him in my team when he was on the double. So yeah, he was very good for me. So I'm willing to give him a bit of a mulligan here. Hopefully he can bounce back next week.
Yeah. Now the Heat and the Stars. Now the key talking points in this game. I mean, let's start with Marcus Stoinis at 96 points. Bowled 4 overs after bowling 0 the
Mm-hmm.
game before and then 4 the game before that. So at least he's consistent with his usage of himself.
Yeah,
But yeah, he batted really well, got a 50. Uh, and then, yeah, as I said, although he didn't take a wicket, bowling 4 overs, that's a great role for Super Coach as well. And something that, I mean, we all have him. I was just unfortunate enough to have benched him this round for Mitch Owen. So there's a lot about how this is going. Um, yeah, I mean, what did you make of Stoinis' innings?
oh, Stoinis. Well, he's burnt me a lot in the past, and yeah, I actually traded him out. This round. Uh, that hurts, definitely. Yeah, I just didn't want any more star players because their roles seem to change week to week. Like, one week he'll be batting. Oh, he's always batting in top 4 this year. But, one week he could be bowling 0 overs. Next, he's bowling 4. So I couldn't guarantee that he'd be bowling. So, I thought I'd trade him out and bring in one of the Renegades. I think I brought in Tom Rogers for him. But yeah,
Um,
just watching that last night really hurt. But he played a good inning, bowled his 4 overs. If you still got him, yeah, it's definitely a hold.
Yeah, it's a good role. It's a good role when he chooses to bowl himself.
When he bowls,
Yeah. Speaking of someone who's now all of a sudden in a pretty bad role, Glenn Maxwell. Thank
yeah,
goodness that he took 4 catches, including, possibly the catch of the tournament. With
that was
that,
unbelievable.
the jumping high,
Yeah,
one-handed into a sort of a layup, I suppose, for
yeah, yeah,
himself.
yeah.
That was a very
So
good
casually
catch.
too. Yeah,
He did it very casually, didn't he? But yeah, 4 catches that saved his day, really, because he got
yeah,
out for a duck, didn't bowl. Um, he's a sell. He's a sell.
yeah,
It's just, it's not really lining up. Stoinis has become the main guy for this Stars team, as he probably, well, not as he should be, but it's his turn, I think, personally. Like, it's been Maxwell's show for 5 or 6 years there, and Stoinis taken a back seat, but, you know, he's doing a good job, Stoinis, and I think it's time to give Maxi a less responsibility, and like it showed because he's batting at 6 and he's not bowling. So
yeah, yeah.
I probably moving on from him at the price he's at.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. I definitely wouldn't be. I was actually looking at Maxi, just to see what his price is going to be, but just don't like his role at the moment. Not bowling, not batting. Yeah, no good. But like you said, yeah, thank God he took those 4 catches for owners. Otherwise,
Mm,
yeah, it would have been 0.
it would have been 0. Speaking of 0, Ben Duckett, fall from
Hmm.
grace. You go 0, 210, then 0. That's the way batsmen are sometimes, particularly
Yeah,
someone like Ben Duckett.
yeah. Well, yeah, you'd be very happy if you owned him for the Stars double, but with the 0, um, you know, we've got that flex position, so that 0 will probably drop out of your team scores, but probably doesn't help if you've got your 1, 2s, and 3s also on your side.
Yeah, that it's a shame for owners, but take it. Good with the
Yeah,
bad with Ben Duckett. Sam Harper, 28 points. Thank goodness for that last ball run out, or else it would have been a
yeah,
bad score. Uh,
yeah.
but we're probably getting to a point where it'd be good to deal with the wicketkeeper position now that we're in the single game rounds again.
Mhm.
Uh, but he has done a job. He's probably averaged in the early to mid 30s. No, yeah, 30 basically. It's been solid. It's not been amazing, but it's been
Mhm.
solid enough. Because keepers haven't really gone incredible. Like if I'll pull up here wicketkeeper averages this season so far. Uh, you know, he is number 11. It's not great,
Mhm.
but like bear in mind you spent 58K for him most likely,
Yeah,
which is a lot less than anyone else in the top you know, uh, in the top
mhm.
10 or 12, you know. So I think it's the purchase justified itself by him averaging
Yeah,
30 at that price. Um, but now it's time to move on from him and upgrade at that wicketkeeper position.
yeah, I think so. And like you said earlier, like if you get up to say a McDermott or who else we got? Um,
Um,
Philippe.
mm, yeah, Philippi, um, yeah, Seifert, maybe. But
Yeah,
just, I haven't really studied the position enough, but I quite like a McDermott right
yeah.
now.
If I was to bring in a keeper, yeah, McDermott would be my target.
I suppose if you wanted a pod keeper, you could go Cameron Bancroft on the double, but in round
Yeah,
6, so that might be something worth considering.
yeah,
But
that's another one. Yeah,
yeah, now Xavier Bartlett, 4 for 10 off 4 overs. This is the frustrating thing. I
yeah.
brought him in last week.
Hmm.
Um, he scored 58 points in 2 games. I captained him for those 58 points in 2 games, right? Because I'm thinking Bartlett, one of the best bowlers in the Big Bash. Uh, played a bit of international cricket in the last 12 months, probably a
Yeah,
class above most of these blokes now. Sure enough, gets spanked around by I can't even remember who in the first game and then does okay in the second. Uh, then he comes here and I'm thinking, I'll probably sell him. I'll probably sell him.
yeah,
But thank goodness that Matt Short got ruled out with an injury. That's all I'll say. I kept Bartlett, 137 points, 4 for 10. It was a great spell. He looked unplayable. His good form against the Melbourne Stars has continued. I think he averages well north of 60 points per game against them now.
yeah. Nah, that was as a non-Bartlett owner. Yeah, that was a pretty tough watch. Geez. as someone who traded out Marcus Stoinis, like if one of those wickets could have been Stoinis, that would have been great. But he started. He's a 200. What did he start at? About 200 plus k
Mm,
starting price this season. He's that price for a reason, and because bowls takes those polls.
yeah, and
Also,
I think the best,
bowls pretty
yeah,
economically as well.
yeah, very economically. And the remarkable thing out of all that is he beat his 125 break even. So
Yeah,
there's a bit of cash to be made off Bartlett. Obviously, it's a single game round. You're looking to bring in some gun players that just general gun players potentially. Uh, he could be up on that list if you chose to go in that direction. I think you he certainly wouldn't let you down. Uh, but otherwise, again, a quiet night for the Brisbane Heat and the Stars. They get their first win of the season, so that's pretty good for them, isn't it?
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking like, geez, these guys are an absolute mess, and they're not going to win a game for a season. But if you had told me that the Hurricanes would smash Sydney and Brisbane would lose to the Stars, then I'd be saying like, well, what are you talking about? That's not going to happen.
No. Well, so that's the review done of round four. I mean, yeah, we have a game tonight, but we sort of like that's all 8 teams that we've looked at, so we don't need to um, wait, I suppose, for tonight's game. Plus, it
Be
gives
very be
you
very
guys, the
interested to see
listeners.
what the sorry.
Mm,
Just very interested to see what the Melbourne what the Marvel Stadium deck looks like tonight.
mm. Yeah, it
Like
will
the
be because
Dodgers and
it's
get a
been
few
playing up a
snags.
fair bit. It's been playing up a fair
Yeah,
bit this season, and in past seasons too. So I mean, this was the reason I sort of avoided Seifert, is because I didn't want to pay 180,000 for a guy that's batting at two poor decks. In
yeah,
saying that, I paid 100,000 for a guy that's batting at two poor decks in Jacob Bethel. So
yeah.
you tell me. Round five, we've got the strikers and not the strikers, the Sixers and the Heat play at Coffs Harbour. There's a bit of rain around, so watch this space on that one. Uh, I would be getting some Sixers and some uh, Heat players into some emergency loops for this game, regardless of price. Just keep an eye on that one. And then to top it all off, Friday night at 9:15, we have a double header on Friday night. uh, you've got Optus Stadium, that's where it's being played, and you've got Perth Scorchers and the Sydney Thunder. So tell me, let's start with the Coffs game, Sixers Heat. Let's assume it's on and assume it's a full 20 overs. Uh,
Mhm.
can you give me a target or someone you're very interested in from either side from those two teams?
So from the Brisbane Heat, like you said just before, Xavier Bartlett is in ripping form. Yeah, he's just takes wickets for fun. He's one that I'll definitely be looking at if I could get up to him, because he's going to be what would he be? Be about 220 plus, wouldn't he?
He'll probably he'll be high 180s
Yeah.
because his break even was a bit
Oh,
higher this
oh, yeah.
round.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
And well, another wicket keeper. I know he hasn't. I don't think he's scored very much in his first couple of games. But Tom Banton from the Heat. Is he? How long? Do we know how long he's here for?
I think he's here for this round. Um, I
Yeah.
think they were saying January
Hmm.
maybe the 6th of Jan or something around there. He might play round five and round six, I think is what we're looking
Yeah.
at with
Okay.
him.
Maybe not him then. Other Brisbane Heat players. Not too sure if I'm looking at any other Heat players. The Sixers, we've got, well, I've already got Dorcius. I'd back him into, um, yeah, have a good game here. Just on Ben Dorcius, while Sean Abbott's in the test side, or test squad, I should say, he's pretty much taking his role, or, he's bowling in the depth, he's bowling surge. bowling a bit up front as well. But yeah, no, Ben Dwarshuis, if you don't have him, one that I'll definitely be looking at as well, if you can afford him. Geez, how about Jackson Bird? Geez, he went off, didn't he? What did he score? Like a 150 odd?
Yeah,
But
something like that.
yeah, but I wouldn't expect him to do that again. One that I think has, he scored well in Supercoach in the past for the Melbourne Renegades. Hasn't really gone huge this season yet. Akil Hussain, what's his price going to be?
Yeah, I was looking at it before, around 155 for a saying next
Yeah,
week.
okay. So a bit of a discount, but is he leaving the comp for
Mm.
one of the
I
other
don't
comps?
I don't think he's leaving quite yet. I think he's still got a
No,
little bit
yeah.
of time. Um, and yeah, 150K. It's a pretty good deal for him. I probably bring him in maybe round
Yeah,
six, let him drop a little
yeah,
bit further, and
yeah, yeah,
build maybe target more Thunder players. That's a strategy
yeah,
that you could employ.
yeah,
You sort of build up your doubles this round, and then once
yeah,
some
yeah.
people drop in value, you target them the following week. Um, well, I'll give you a couple of players from the Scorchers and Thunder game. So for me, on the Scorchers side of things, Jai Richardson's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
That 7 is still in his break even, so that's gonna and 100's just dropped out. So his price won't change a great deal. I think he'll go up a little bit, but he won't be too expensive. And I'm very keen on trading him in because we'll know by then if he's been named in the test team or not, and I don't think he will be. Uh,
Mhm.
So I think he'll be free to play, and we'll also know if he's able to play as well. There's a bit to that. Um,
Yeah,
and then there's of course Finn Allen. I mean, we've spoken
yeah,
about him at length today, but yeah, very, very interesting target for me. For the Thunder, we spoke about Sherfane Rutherford, very interested in him. And then from the bowling department, Wes Agar, he's probably already locked into my side to come in next round. Um,
yeah.
Now, the Stars and the Renegades, Saturday night, MCG. Um, it's gonna be a good game, I reckon. Melbourne
I
Derby
think so,
at the cricket ground. Um, who do you like? If you were to trade in someone from the Melbourne Stars or target someone from the Stars, who would you be interested in targeting?
yeah. It'd be pretty good. Can I trade Stoinis back in? um, but knowing me, if I trade him back in, then he will bowl 0 overs and he'll burn me again. But yeah, we're just looking for Glenn Maxwell. Like, yeah, what will he be,
Mm,
about 180? But probably not going to go there. Um, Dan Lawrence went off last night as well.
mm,
I think he's 152K. I'm not even sure if he was available to, be picked in Supercoach,
yeah.
before everyone locked in their trades. But 152K probably wouldn't go there. Although he is batting at the top and he is bowling as well. Is he taking Maxwell's overs? But yeah, probably wouldn't go there. Uh, One thing that, like, I know their buy is not until I think round 8,
Mm,
but yeah, I'm probably not too keen on bringing too many stars, knowing that they've got a buy coming up.
mm.
Um, got Siddle, he's bowling pretty well for a 4-year-old.
Yeah, he's
Um,
bowling quite well, isn't he?
yep, yep,
You know, just some solid scores from him this season. It's a shame that he missed that second game of the Stars double,
mm,
where there was a bit of concern about him being rested.
yeah,
Otherwise, I think I would have
yeah,
brought him in to start the season. Uh,
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
yeah,
I probably sold you a bad one here asking you for Stars players because they are 1 and 5, and pretty much their relevance this season is almost done already. So,
and yeah,
uh,
something I've been worried about since the start of the season, like just with their bowlers and like what's their bowling lineup going to be? Is it going to change like every game pretty much? And it pretty much
mm,
has. Like,
yeah,
we had Beckety just come in for his first game this week. Um, yeah, no, just not keen on many stars players, unfortunately. Renegades. Oh well. if you don't have Will Sutherland, yeah, he's got a great role at the moment. Seifert, if you're looking for a keeper, but he is expensive. Uh, Bethel should be still be pretty cheap. I'm actually hoping, like I know he hasn't bowled yet, but if they needed for whatever reason to bring on a second spinner at all behind Zampa, he surely have to be their option.
Mm.
You got your Fergus, your Tom Rogers. Have been bowling well, and Kane Richardson. I probably wouldn't go there, and can't think of any other ones. Like you got my man Laurie Evans, who's batting well. But yeah, I probably wouldn't pay up that much for a bat only.
No,
So
I think you'd. Yeah, I think those two teams have not much relevance in them, but like the guys like Sutherland, Seifert, and then even you know Bethel, if he has a good game against the Strikers tonight, he might be a long-term hold, make some coin out of him. Then you've got
yeah,
the Hurricanes and the Strikers Sunday night back at Hobart. One thing we've learnt from this season is that Mitch Owen only bats well at Hobart. So
yeah,
for me,
mhm,
I'll be looking to play him, but he'll be the
mhm,
first person out in a bench loop
yeah,
situation. Uh,
yeah, definitely, definitely.
if I'm
He's
trading in a
still,
Hobart, sorry, if I'm trading in a Hobart guy, I'm probably looking at Ben McDermott, as I mentioned before.
yeah,
At least from a batting perspective. Bowling perspective, I'm going to cheat a little bit here and say an all rounder. Nikhil Chowdhury, as you
mhm,
mentioned, good
yeah,
role, uh, pretty cheap, only around 100k sort of thing. So that's interesting to me.
yeah,
And then the strikers, probably not targeting any strikers. Just, they've had their
yeah,
two doubles. They've got a buy coming
yeah,
up. But if I'm
yeah,
desperate for cash, I'm going Brendan Doggett for sure.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
Yeah, I think that just about does us. I think that just about does us for the round four review and round five preview. Had a pretty in-depth look as we've gone through. Uh, Thank you for joining, mate. And all the best this season.
No worries. Thank you very much, Nathan. Good luck. Good luck to everybody. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thank you. And we will catch you at the end of the next round, which is, only Sunday. So probably see you on Sunday sometime. Anyway, cheers for watching and see you later.